Oh boy, this is going to be the best January 16th, 2025 of all time! I get to play Donkey Kong Country Returns! Returns! Nothing is ever going to top this momentous occasion! Fourth time will be the charm, I guess.
Yes, after what felt like an entire lifetime, the Nintendo Switch 2 has been officially revealed. It's no longer a fantasy, this is our reality, and we're gonna have to learn to live with it and the consequences that come with it. With the Nintendo Switch being on the market for nearly 8 years and basically becoming a household name, it's safe to say that when it came to a successor, Nintendo had a lot to live up to. And judging by the amount of views the reveal trailer already has on YouTube and the buzz surrounding it all, it's clear that the general public is really excited about the console, or at the very least curious about it. So, as a self-proclaimed Rhythm Heaven enthusiast, I wanted to give my initial thoughts on what little we know about the Switch 2 through this trailer. I know we don't have that much to work with right now, but I definitely plan to make more videos on the console in the future, so think of this as a time capsule towards either the start of something greater, or a ticking time bomb. Let's begin with the easiest thing to talk about, that being the name, Nintendo Switch 2. This is definitely the safest name they could have gone with, which part of me is glad about, but also leaves me a little underwhelmed. On one hand, it's a really simple and effective name that tells the average consumer exactly what the product is. A proper successor to a famous video game console they may or may not have played and loved. Its messaging is very clear, and won't leave people confused as to what the device is even supposed to be, which was something that the Wii U always struggled with. And with this being more so a subtle upgrade to the previous hardware, at least on a surface level, I don't logically see how you could call this anything else. But at the same time, when Nintendo would make successors to their previous devices in the past, they tended to get more creative with their name schemes with some sort of fun adjective that either heightened the impact of the upgrade, or played into the gimmick well. The NES's successor was the Super NES, the Game Boy's was the Game Boy Advance, the DS became the 3DS. Even just calling the device the Super Switch, I feel would have been better. It still makes the messaging clear while also adding some classic Nintendo funk into the mix. I'm perfectly fine with calling this the Switch 2, but part of me would have liked to have a name that was a bit more unique. Moving on to the console itself, the first thing we see is the new tablet, and it's immediately apparent that they're taking a page out of the average American portion size and using a slightly bigger design with a bigger screen, which was to be expected. I'm hoping this means that the screen resolution will be bumped up to at least 1080p. Look, 720p was more than acceptable back in 2017, and with the Switch's specs, you definitely didn't need anything higher at the time. But with the power jump I'm expecting from this thing, the bigger field of view, and the advancements that handheld devices like smartphones have made within the past 8 years alone, it's essential to have a clearer image on the go so that more technologically advanced games don't look blurry in motion. As for what's on the shell of the system, most things remain the same, except now there's a second USB-C port on the top side, which is fantastic. The Switch was only ever able to charge on the bottom side, which made comfortably playing in handheld mode while charging a nuisance. So it'll be nice to not have to damage my internal organs while playing in bed for a change. There's also a new kickstand that still doesn't look the most sturdy, but I'll gladly take over the thumbtack we got on the Switch. Plus, this one seems like it could be adjusted to be set down in different positions, which will definitely be useful for tabletop sessions. We then move on to the Joy-Cons, a Matthew Smart's worst enemy only behind the croutons and salad bowls. I really can't stand the Joy-Cons on the Switch, and that's with and without the drift controversy.
Slide to the left.
They're really small, not that comfortable to grip, the buttons are too clicky for my liking, and the sticks don't have the greatest reach in terms of movement. 95% of the time when I'm playing a game on my Switch, it's with the Pro Controller. These new Joy-Cons do look like improvements over the originals, but they seem more like patch notes rather than genuine upgrades, at least at face value. They are slightly bigger, and I imagine they're going to be a bit more ergonomic at the hands, especially when playing sideways with the more apparent trigger buttons, but they don't look like they're doing enough to make me excited to use them by comparison. There's also a new square button on the right Joy-Con, which we don't know the functionality of yet. Nintendo always has some sort of quirky gimmick in their consoles, so my best guess is that it'll have to do with some sort of new online feature that allows for unique interactions when playing with friends. Or it could also just act as a spare button you can map a command to for accessibility purposes, but I don't know, there's definitely more of this square than meets the eye. It could potentially hold the secrets of the universe for all we know. One other notable thing is this strange animation where the Joy-Cons are sliding on the floor like a snake. Many rumors are pointing towards this having a proper function, with the controllers acting like a computer mouse. You can even see what looks to be optical sensors on the side, further proving this theory. I'm not really sure how this would be implemented in games, but to me this kind of feels like HD Rumble, where Nintendo will use this in pretty cool ways during the first 2 years, and for heaven's sake avoid it like the plague afterwards, but we'll see. Also, can I just say that the way the Joy-Cons are colored is really boring? The one thing I'll definitely give the OG Joy-Cons is that the neon color schemes you could get are really slick. They help make the system ooze with personality while still looking sharp. So just resorting those colors to only be on the bottom of the control sticks and the sides just takes away a lot of the charm and honestly makes them look more like bootleg controllers. I really hope that these are just the default Joy-Cons. You can still get ones that cover the entire controller in a solid color. If I'm not playing in pastel pink and yellow, it's not a real Switch. The last thing worth acknowledging is the way the Joy-Cons attach to the Switch itself, as it appears to be magnet-based this time. Part of me is concerned about how sturdy they are, as any of these bendings sounds like a death sentence. But if they work the way the trailer is showing, this sounds like a godsend. I can't tell you how many times my Joy-Cons will desync from my Switch while playing in handheld mode, even when I have them fully clipped on all the way. So this seems like a more efficient and stable way to connect everything. And due to the new size, it doesn't look like you'll be able to use the original Joy-Cons in handheld mode anyway, which is fine since you'll only ever need the 2 controllers when you play that way regardless. We also get a quick look at the new dock, which, yeah, it's a dock for the Nintendo Switch 2. It's obviously not going to end world hunger, but it's interesting that it takes a more rounded design compared to the hard edges of the vanilla Switch. I'm hoping that the plastic is a bit more sturdy with a more premium feel, and add some more soft padding since I know that there's people that live in fear of scratching their screen. Next up, we're giving a brief look at Hot Wheels! Well, it's about time I was given a reason to care about driving again. As much as I love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I've been playing the same game for over a decade now. Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U is as old now as Double Dash, my first Mario Kart, was then. If I have to play Twisted Mansion one more time, I'm going to become a ghost and haunt Shigeru Miyamoto. So even just giving us a really basic look at the next game, I think is more than enough to satisfy those curious about the hardware for the time being. Plus, it's Mario Kart. The brand name alone is enough to get even the most critical onlookers to have a Switch 2 in their hands on day one. As for the game itself, it seems to be taking on a more cartoonish art style. Mario and Luigi just look a lot more round and plump this time, and Donkey Kong is even using his design from the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And I kind of like that they're trying something different in terms of the artistic design, instead of just building on their pre-existing assets. It's easy to miss too, but it looks like they're bumping up the player count per race to 24 people. And I really hope the items are balanced to accommodate for that. The items in Mario Kart Wii in particular were far too chaotic to make for a smooth 12-player game from my experience. You double that, and I can already see the kitchen bursting into flames if not handled responsibly. Also, the track looks like it takes place in Arizona. It's a shame Nintendo can't do an accurate portrayal of my home state. Everyone should have passed out by now from heat stroke. On that note, I really hope the track list offers more than enough to keep people satisfied in the modern day. At minimum, I want there to be as many tracks as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had at launch, that being 48, but if they somehow have 96 tracks readily available, then I guess I have no problem never playing any other video games for the rest of my life. They then state that most of the Nintendo Switch library will be playable on Switch 2. This was already confirmed 2 months prior at a company briefing, but it's nice to have it be made clear directly in a trailer that far more people are going to see. Though they do specify that not every game will be backwards compatible. I'm guessing this will be specific to games where the size of the Switch tablet matters, like Nintendo Labo, for example. Their $70 cardboard was too premium to carry over, I hate to say it. Finally, they confirmed that there will be a Nintendo Direct dedicated to the Switch 2 on April 2nd, as well as a handful of events so you could demo the console shortly afterwards. And you better believe I'll be covering that Direct when the time comes. That's gonna be the big moment where the curtain gets pulled back and we finally know what to expect from this new generation. For now though, I'm hopeful for the Nintendo Switch 2. I have my concerns for sure, and there's still a lot we don't know about that could make or break this console, but I have genuine confidence that Nintendo is going to do a solid job keeping people interested. The company is more relevant than ever these days, and I think they're aware now that if they want to keep their momentum going, they have to keep delivering with a formula that's been proven to work and continue to put out innovative and high-quality games. As long as they could do that and fix the problems that came with the Switch, like the poor online, the Joy-Con drift, and the absolute embarrassment of an eShop, then I think we're going to be in for a good time. Oh, and don't use AI. For the love of everything, please don't use AI.
So that's where I'm right now with the Nintendo Switch 2. In conclusion, because this is still a tablet, it's obviously not going to be the graphical powerhouse that the PlayStation 5 is. And that is why Nintendo is doomed. My apologies, I almost had to revoke my true gamer card right there.